I was bad, you guys. I did all this work. Didn't film any of it. Did it all without you. Actually, a lot of this work got done months and months and months ago. Before the garage kind of interrupted. But I had a really scary event with Teddy yesterday that put the fence back on the number one spot on the priority list, especially now that the electrical is done in the garage, so I can plug the car in and everything. Every night Teddy and I play ball, and I sit on the patio and I throw the ball out this direction. There have been a pair of coyotes in the vicinity. There's like a coyote highway that goes this direction from like a property over there to like that corner over there. Yesterday Teddy and I were playing ball. It was the last throw. We were almost done. He went after the ball, and about the time that he got the ball, the two coyotes came around on this side. Luckily, he turned away from them, so he never even saw them, and came running back to me because we were playing fetch, and the coyotes kept going, but they were very close. They obviously looked at him, and they looked at me, and as soon as I saw them, I got up. I didn't want to scare Teddy by screaming or anything, but I'm like, good boy, come on, good boy, making noise, but like encouraging him to come. And about the time that he got up here, not quite to the patio, he caught their scent and started running around over here trying to find them. And I'm sure it was only like 5 minutes, but it felt like forever that he like dropped the ball, wouldn't come, was like just trying so hard to find them, whining like, oh my gosh, my friends, I want to go play, and he wouldn't come back. And I was like so scared that he was gonna figure out which way the trail went and like take off after them, but he didn't, and he came back and everything was fine. But I was so shaky after that. Like the adrenaline rush of that was insane. I had to go and lay down and stuff afterwards because I was like, might as well have been in a car crash, kind of a adrenaline rush. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. He has so much energy. He is a high energy little guy. Going on walks and stuff is really not enough for him, but that's what I'm gonna have to do until I can get the fence finished, which is probably gonna be months of work. So anyways, that's the reason for today's video. You can see I've done a little bit of work. Very first clip I filmed was me laying the string line down, like, woo, it's so exciting. But you can see in that clip that there were like rocks over here. This used to be where my washing machine drained, and I relocated that so that it drains over there where it's out of the way for all of this project. And then there were rocks, and I relocated them actually the other side of this bush. The water comes out of the washing machine really fast, and it erodes the ground. So if I can dam it up a little bit to slow it down, then it doesn't erode so badly. So that's what that is. At the time that I did the rocks and everything, actually my knee was like really not great, and so that's pretty much all the further I could get the rocks. I couldn't really haul them in a wheelbarrow far away, so that worked out that I could reuse them at least. And just waiting for some water to soak in on these holes while I talk to you. As I'm pulling the dirt out, obviously there's going to be concrete in these holes. I am like putting it in some low spots. So there's a low spot here, and then there's a low spot where that little pond used to be. And so just making use of the dirt as I pull it out and everything. And I also trimmed the oleander bush back so that it wasn't in the way while I was working on it. But yeah, I think that's it for like an introduction and catching guys up to speed. I always end up talking so much in these videos, but I feel like there's so much to explain, and it doesn't help when I like just get started without, bringing you guys along for you guys to see what I've been doing and everything. So yeah, I think you're ready to follow along at this point. Let's dig some holes. I need to get some more fence posts. I'm gonna put the new fence posts up here in this corner where they're all like kind of by themselves and won't be super obvious. Like if they were down there or scattered around, they would be really obvious how new they look compared to my old ones. Up here they'll be kind of like segregated, and the transition between the new and the old will happen kind of behind the oleander bush, I hope. And so you won't be able to really notice, hopefully, that they look really new and different. I need to place the order for another pallet of concrete. I just got rid of a pallet of concrete. Anyways, yeah, I think that's about it. I didn't kill enough time. There's still water in these holes. So I think I'm going to go back in and have dinner or something and come back out here in an hour or so, and then all the water will have soaked in. until somebody came down this road last night thinking that I was a driveway and then stopped and went, oh, never mind, backed up and then went around. Well, that was nice of them. So I got curious and grabbed my 2 tape measures of a 25 footer and a 100 footer. And I hooked the 100 footer to the corner post way over there. And what I'm basically trying to do is see what the angle is before I get everything lined up with the patio and the house. I more or less have it. It's not quite there, but it's really close. I'm like just a few inches off where there's supposed to be 285 over on that corner of the house. The reason I was doing this is because obviously that fence is at an angle, and I thought it would look nice if the fence was like perpendicular, like that fence line matched the fence line of the house. Let's pretend I can magically draw a straight line for myself here. So yeah, this is the point. You can treat everything this direction as a rectangle, and like perfectly square and everything. So from here down to the bottom corner, and from that post down to the bottom corner would be the same length. I need to measure this, and I don't think I'm actually going to end up doing this after all of that, because I think that like 115 feet is going to just be way too long down here. I think actually the fence is going to need to get narrower down towards the bottom. Not by a ton, but I think 115 feet sounds like overkill. I can't make it up if I tried. How's that for guesstimating? So it is 115 feet. I'm not going to take the tape measure down there, but I have previously measured this and it was 95 feet. So it's an extra 10 feet right now. If I wanted to try and make that whole thing square, not really that much. It's pretty much a panel and a half. I definitely am going to mark that spot with like a rock or something, just so I know in case I do decide to do that. But I feel like just pacing this off, we're not close to square. Like, what I have marked out right now is not in line with the house. And so to make it square, I think would be really far. I'm going to pace it out. Okay, that's really interesting. With just some really high level pacing off, this line clearly at one point was a fence line because there is a leftover post and everything from it. So if I put the fence back basically here, if I extend that corner down to here, then the angle will match the house, basically, is what I just determined. If I want to do that is the question. I can do that, but do I want to do that? I don't know, and I don't know that I'm gonna know, to be honest. So think about it. I officially have the best neighbors. They gave that to me for free. Can you believe that? These are like
$150, $200. They weren't using it and the wheels are all rotted. They're like, take it, put new wheels on it. I'm like, okay. So yeah, that's the state of the old wheels. And Harbor Freight had the exact same wheels. Well, I shouldn't say exact same. I haven't tried them yet. I think they're the exact same wheels for $9 a pop. They seem like they work to me. Okay, I fiddled with it for a half hour. All the other ones went straight on, and that wheel, I think the bearing is on there crooked a little bit, so you just can't get the cotter pin through because it's like the part that's crooked, it just hits it, and there's not enough room for the pin to get through. That's a bummer. I was be really excited to get all this done tonight so I could use it, but guess I'll have to wait for my next trip to town. Since I clearly grew up in the Great Depression, I had to get all the bolts off of this to save. Clearly the tires are going in the garbage. This side of it can go just in the scrap metal pile. I'm sure that they would scrap that, but I'm not sure if they'll scrap the one with the bearings in it. So it got grease and maybe like rubber and stuff in it. I'm not sure if they'll take that in scrap metal or not. So I guess I need to Google it, maybe they'll tell me. I even pulled the cap off of the fill tube to keep, because those are universal as far as I'm aware. I get this from my father. He is like the ultimate hoarder, and he watches my videos. He'd be very proud to see that I am saving the bolts and the little caps off of these $8 tires. It's as good as new. Look at that. Very nice. Now I have to figure out whether I'm going to take the sides off for this project, moving all these things around, or I feel like that probably would be enough to keep everything stable, but I don't know. We'll have to play around and see with it once I get some boards on it, how heavy I can load it, and do I want the sides? Do I want the sides? I don't know. We'll see. And I don't remember if I even said, but the reason all of this started is because I was talking to my neighbors about working on the fence and how many pickets I have to move from my pile of pickets to my saw and then back out to wherever they're going on the fence. And with the knee and everything, it's just kind of rough carrying them all by hand, which is how they got stocked up in the first place. Before all the knee stuff happened, I just carried them. They're not that heavy, and you can get quite a big of a stack. But they don't fit in my wheelbarrow. And then I have my little dump trailer back there, and I could use that, but I don't really have anything to tow that with. I don't really want to use the van around on the property like that, because it's big and clunky and cumbersome. So yeah, that's what I got that cart for. And I was even looking at them online. I was about to buy one new when they offered that one. So it was really exciting. So yeah, that's the whole reason that I got that in the first place, and the game plan and everything. So not too bad for like $35. Morning, guys. I am exhausted. Just came back from a work trip and we had the most rain we have ever had apparently last night. My neighbors were sending me videos and all sorts of stuff. Nothing got in the house as far as I can tell, but there is a ton of erosion around the property. About the same as Hurricane Hillary, I would say. Maybe a little bit more. Obviously, all the water coming off the garage didn't help. But my driveway really washed out. So I am going to grab a shovel and redirect that because I'm not sure that we're done with the rain yet. Out in the desert, you might not have rain in the forecast because it all just forms and changes so quickly. I don't really even have the time or the energy to get the tripod so you can watch me fix my driveway. But I'll take a before and an after shot for you. The flight last night had to circle around for 10-20 minutes trying to find a gap in everything to be able to land. They almost rerouted us to an airport that's like an hour and a half away. So I'm really lucky that that didn't happen because I don't know what I would have done. I had my car was at the airport I flew out of. So it would have been just a big mess. But I couldn't get home last night because of the roads. And that's why my neighbors were texting me. They were like, hey, don't come home because the roads are all rivers. You won't make it. And I was like, got it. So work comped me a hotel last night. Yeah, this is what my driveway looks like right now. Water flowed down here. And some of it diverted to the wash successfully, but I've been meaning to get a tractor out here to redo this because it wants to just go down my driveway. And I just need to cut this down so that it will stop doing that and go down the wash like it's supposed to and where it's out of everybody's way and not in my way. But yeah, nope. A lot of water came down the driveway and I knew it needed done. So it's honestly really kind of my fault that I let it happen. There's like this little corner in the road and I need to take this high spot down and kind of fill in here and then take that high spot down off of that part of my driveway and fill that in and take that high spot down from the wash. And between all three of those piles of dirt, I think we can fill most of this back in. So I'm not super worried about it. It's all fixable, but I need to get this all shoveled in case we get some more rain while the ground is soft, because the ground turns into concrete if it's not wet. So as tired as I am, and I am genuinely exhausted. I was worried about driving home last night because I was so tired. But as tired as I am, I think that I can't afford not to do this while the ground is soft. And if I have more rain, then it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. So I've just got to divert it right now. So hopefully I can get enough of this dirt moved here that it cuts this off and allows the water to keep going that direction. And then obviously I'll do the real work when I have a tractor. So it's a really good example of how bad the drainage is through this really fine silt and sand, is that we're about a foot down and I'm at dry dirt. So all the water that caused all of this destruction doesn't soak in very far. Everything has to have shallow root systems. It ain't pretty. And I definitely don't have it so it's 100% downhill. But I am shaking, as I imagine you can tell by the camera. So that's it. Hopefully the water momentum will help erode the last of it out if I do get more rain. Bringing my suitcase in. I forgot to tell you guys, the patio is not too low. I just don't have really much in the way of a path for the water to go, so it's puddling up. I plan on having like a more formal drainage ditch that brings everything off around the house, and then I will have gutters also and like a French drain or something that gets the water out. So there won't be all the water from the gutters overwhelming this area. And this also will have a way to get out instead of puddling up, and then that will solve that whole pile up problem. This is the only other spot on the property that got it bad. And again, it's because of all the runoff from this roof, which will eventually get managed. We have had plans to put in some railroad steps here and then also over towards the garden. So these steps would go to my clothesline. That would also help with this kind of stuff too, because the railroad ties would, slow down the water, hopefully, and keep it from eroding so badly. But between the gutters and the steps that will come in here, it shouldn't be too bad. And because I'm putting steps in here, I'm gonna have to like cut soil away and everything anyways. So other than it being a pain until I can find some railroad ties, it is not too bad. It's kind of crazy how far back dirt will erode. I'll crank up the exposure so you can see that. You see how big of a cave that is back there? Oop, too far. But yeah, it like back erodes way underneath. So it's actually really scary to walk on this because you don't know how far back, like if you step on this, it's gonna cave in because it's actually hollow underneath. The other really neat thing that the rain did was let me see that these are not in their final spot. This is like the boards that I use just to position the posts at the correct distance. You need to come back through and make everything level with the line. But you can see that there's a board that was actually wedged so tightly between the other two that when it got wet and expanded, it actually popped out and like caved out because it had nowhere else to go. So I already know I need to make some sort of a little spacer to get the boards, spaced evenly. And when I do that, it would be really nice to make it also so that there's some sort of a teeny tiny little shim to make sure that I keep a gap between the boards as well. And you're going to see them. I'm not going to put a cover board over top of it. So it really needs to be like the same gap across all of them, which is what a jig would do. So yeah, that was really good to see. I wouldn't have thought of that. And like, just imagine if I had done the whole fence where they're all butted up really tight and then had a rain for the first time. And then I had to go back through and redo it, or I don't know, I guess just live with it. Honestly, if I had done the whole fence, I would just live with it. And it is drying out, and going back, it was much worse. But yeah, now I know. It's kind of nice in general to leave a project kind of half finished for a second, just so that you can let it settle and know whether it's going to work or not work, or if it has any pros or cons or things that need to get changed. And yeah, definitely need to make sure that I keep a little bit of space between the boards. The only other thing that's really annoying is that it uncovered a bunch more garbage on the property. So I need to come through and pick all of this up. And there's a spot over here that's pretty bad too. So I'll need to come through with my little trash grabber and pick all this garbage up. Really not fun to live on a property where garbage was just thrown everywhere, but it is what it is. Eventually we'll get there. Don't know what that is. There's a fucking crate underneath here. Yeah. Joys of owning an abandoned pot farm.